She RSVP'd on Friday, but we haven't heard from her since.
Okay.
6:31.
We're ready. Let's call this meeting to order. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And tonight we have Board President Sharon Kinley, Vice President Pat Miller, Secretary Crystal Andel, Treasurer Carl Gilmore, who now has his plaque that says he's treasurer, trustees Gretchen Fritz and Vicki Knight. Absent is Samantha Hurtado. Staff members Julie Milovic, Lisa Pappas, Deb Maxwell, and Laura Bautista. And our two members of the public, Dave Schmidt and Vicki Polito. Hi, Vicki. Hi, Vicki.
And it's good to see both of you. And you. We do have time.
Yeah, you should.
No, that's yours.
Oh, it's
That's
yours. Mailing back.
That's to make
Oh,
sure.
Hang on, we'll go over that. We'll get there.
Okay? We said, we do have time for public comment. Do we have any public that would like to comment?
I have to stand up.
No, you don't.
Thank you.
Stand up and tell
Yeah.
us your name
Yes.
for the record.
Yes, it's Vicki Polito from 25242 Blakely Drive, 60585. Two things real quick. You've noticed I have started doing the videotaping. I did a test one. I think it was at the November meeting I was at before I was sick. That one's dull and I can put it up, but it was just a test for me. So from here on out, I'll try to tape every meeting. I'll put it up for people to see. And I think until I understand what I'm going to tag them as for easy finding, I will email Julie when they're up, who can notify anybody who's interested. And then I lost it. I thought I brought it with me, and it's not necessarily important if you're not a District 2 or 3 or 204 student, or if you're not a library card holder at Naperville, but some of you may have friends who are. I saw today that they're going to be running sort of a test drive program for some new equipment that they're seeing if their constituents want. I'm sure you've heard about this. They're going to have a multi-image scanner, I remember was one thing, a VHS copy, and they're going to have a period of time where the public's going to be let in to test drive these things, and they will see if the constituents, if the library users find them valuable or not. I know it's not super interesting for us, but it's a little interesting for us, and I wouldn't mind, if anybody has any info down the road, how that worked out for them. That'd be interesting to hear. Thanks.
Yeah, they're doing, basically a media lab, kind of similar to the one that Fountaindale has. And they are test driving a number of different pieces of equipment. I don't remember if it was them that was also testing a 3D printer.
Yes. Oh, yes.
I think that was included in
Yeah.
the group.
Those are awesome.
Yes, they are.
David, anything to say to us?
David Schmidt at 11350 South Belmont Drive. I just want to say the parking lot looks great. The lights look great. I want to congratulate everybody on all their hard work and getting that thing all the way through. So it looks great.
It's a nice
Yeah,
addition
great
to our
job.
community, isn't it?
Yeah, it's nice.
Sure is.
The lights are really nice.
I turned in tonight, I wasn't sure I was at the right place.
Yeah, right,
See
yeah.
everything. Yes.
What is this?
I have one thing I'd like to say, and that is that each time I walk into the library with the decorations, it takes my breath away. They are just awesome.
For the reading program.
Oh, yes,
But
they
they
are
fit
just
right in with the
awesome.
Winter Olympics.
Oh, they do,
Olympics.
but I think it has perked up my day on those days when I could barely walk through the snow outside. So I just think the staff needs to be congratulated on their.
Certainly commended for that, that's for sure. And there's no other public comment, we'll move on to the approval of the agenda, and I'll entertain a motion for that.
I'd like to make a correction first, Madam Chairman.
Okay.
The committee reports, it indicates Crystal Andel at the trustee workshop,
And it
and
was
I was at the workshop, not Crystal.
Right. I'm glad you did that, thank you. So we need to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved.
Is there a second? Moved in second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, or those abstaining. And on the consent agenda, we have two sets of minutes, and we're going to talk a little bit about the committee minutes later in our report, but we have December 18th, 2013 regular board meeting minutes and the February 3rd, 2014 finance committee minutes, and the approval of the bills paid and bills payable for both December and January. So I think we'll take these one at a time, and although it is a consent agenda, so we can do it all the time. There's,
I have
okay, go
two
ahead.
items for
Okay.
adjustment on the finance committee meeting minutes. Call to order, rather than call of order at the top. And then Debbie, although you were there with us in spirit,
You were not actually at
the actual
meeting.
recording secretary.
Okay.
Thank you.
On the December 18th minutes, the second to last paragraph on the first page, there's just a typo on Comcast.
Oh, Comcast. Compost,
She
Comcast.
does this just to see if we're reading.
Yeah, I figured
I was checked out for
that.
vacation.
Oh. Okay, so.
She came back from Hawaii and, you know.
Yeah, that was a rude awakening, wasn't it?
Especially since she went from 80 something to like -4 the day we got back. It was something really rude like that.
So, the first minutes that we need to approve are the December 18th, as amended, the December 18th, 2013 amended board meeting minutes.
I so move.
Is there a
Seconded.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The next one is the February 3rd Finance Committee meeting minutes as amended.
Moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then the approval of the bills paid and bills payable for December in the total of $240,084.80. Questions or discussion?
Separating the two months. So moved for December in the amount of $240,84.80.
Second.
Second.
Roll call?
Crystal?
Aye.
Carl?
Aye.
Gretchen?
Aye.
Vicki? Pat?
Aye.
Sharon?
That motion carries. And then the January 2014 bills paid and bills payable in the amount of $323,420.73.
I move to approve of the $323,420.73 payable for January 2014.
There's a second to that motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Carl?
Aye.
Gretchen?
Aye.
Vicki?
Second.
Samantha got settled. Pat?
Aye.
Sharon?
Yeah, oh, yeah, aye.
Crystal? If you would care to abstain on the motion currently being voted while you get settled.
We're glad to see you. All right, and the next item on the agenda is the committee reports from the Illinois Library Association Trustee Day Report. And Vicki and Pat and I attended. And first, I want to just say, I'm always amazed when I go to these meetings and I hear the presentation and I hear the questions that are asked by the people, and I think we already know how that we have some very wonderful people, very knowledgeable people that take care of this for us, and
Julie, we don't have to worry about anything.
it's just
Oh,
amazing.
they're always little things.
I mean, between Laura and Debbie and Lisa and Julie, it's just amazing how much we're in
It's not new.
business.
It's
Yeah.
not new to us.
However, there were some things that we heard. It was a great presentation. Val, the two of you, you have something?
It was interesting, they had a agenda and a meeting, and then they did all the things wrong. For the
It's a
meeting.
mock.
Not meeting, and they had a lawyer done up front that talked about why that was wrong, what they did. And from taking bids, not having enough bids, and then using the lowest bidder that was physical, or that was financially stable, and what's that meant as far as all that goes, the indent boots, you can't take your brother-in-law,
Yeah.
you know, all that kind of stuff. And they went into just violation of meeting the act and FOIA.
We have
and
information.
all that stuff. So they brought a lot of scenarios that were funny, but it was interesting how, I learned a lot, actually. And we had a lot of notes, scribble lots.
Well, I think with FOIA, I think particularly,
It
it was
changes.
really excellent in the way in which the mock meeting was conducted. One, what they attempted to do was to have humor, so they really expanded the errors in terms of how it was portrayed, and that was good. But I think, you know, a couple things that I thought were just good for us to note. You know, we live in a smaller community than the city of Chicago, whatever, and we try to encourage local vendors, et cetera. But you really have to stop and make sure there isn't any conflict of interest. And it's, you know, so it's just that we're made aware, again, we need to do this. Perhaps the other thing under FOIA that I find, in a sense, we have to think about, so in that sense, it has to be, again, presence of mind, is that wherever we have the quorum established within people from a committee, people from the board, we cannot talk about any business that would come as committee business or whatever, because we could be in violation. And I thought maybe the easiest thing is to know that, Julie, you're gonna get everything. Because it's always to go through the staff, and of course, if it's not Julie, it can be someone else if we have something else of a question, but.
Well, you are our FOIA officer.
Yes,
And that's-
so in that sense, though, that is the best way for us to conduct business.
Absolutely.
So whatever it is we want to propose, instead of talking about it between ourselves, if we happen to be on the same committee, for example.
Or shooting emails with the email.
Or email, or any kind of communication.
That's one of the things they stressed is that now, your iPhones, your laptops, and all can be, for you. And so, and if you're at a meeting and you're wanting to know how you're going to vote and you're texting, that can all be confiscated and used as public record. So, it's really interesting what they've had to start, how they've had to develop all of this because it's new technology.
And the law is still trying to keep up with the way in which people are transmitting data and sharing data with one another, and there's so much to try to keep up with. One of the pieces of legislation that we recently found out is going up in the Illinois legislature is actually, it's actually a very good bill because it puts an incentive out there to units of local government to make FOIA information. If you make things readily available on your website, it adds an incentive program for
Right.
that. So
And
that,
we did talk about
and
this.
it's designed to try to support transparency and support local governments in their efforts to be proactive about making information freely available. And that's, of course, an idea that libraries can get behind very easily.
But it was well done. One of the things when we were talking about committee minutes, they did stress that committee minutes should be only approved by the members of that committee. So you maybe need to take 5 minutes before your meeting begins to approve those minutes, because if you weren't there, you can't do attendance. And so that was one of the stresses. And every time they'll have a little bit of a change, a little nuance that maybe we didn't have. And the other thing, they said we don't need the approval of the agenda. I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure why. Because we've just put that on in the last couple of years.
I'll go digging.
Yeah,
And
go
figure out
some.
why.
And see what that's
See
about.
why Phil is recommending that way now.
Yeah, yeah, and so,
And they said too, for these certain words, we don't have to specify everything in the approval of, something that was, none of the words were.
and we had some discussion on the prevailing wage act and making sure that that was approved each year, and I saw that was another one of just talked about all those things to keep you up to date and on top of what you need to do to make sure that you're running smoothly. But we used to come away feeling pretty good.
They also have
Yes, we do.
the ethic, trustee ethic form. I don't know if you have that or it's in their stuff or if it's around. Look at.
Yeah, we each got one of those, so we'll do that maybe just later. And then advocacy tips, which was a great little session. And the session on filtering was good. It was really well done.
It's always good, they have the presentation of the legislative updates. And it does give you at least a way in which you're aware of what's being brought up, how many different things that can affect the library. And I think we need to find a way to maybe keep up more with that, perhaps outside of that kind of a trustee workshop thing. And maybe it's something that the Board Development Committee could maybe make sure that we get some kind of update annually or whatever as to what's occurring in terms of the legislative pieces.
Well,
Sure.
but he usually sends that to Julie and then she sends it on to us, yeah. The things that are, that are pertinent,
Right,
yeah.
especially if there's a call this
Yeah,
office
'cause there's
type
yeah.
response.
Yeah.
It's certainly an emphasis as well that you want to not only avoid a conflict of interest, but we try to stay apolitical. And yet you have to be on top of what's occurring politically
Sure.
because it impacts upon our work.
So it was well done, and the lunch was absolutely wonderful.
Yes, it was.
That's the good
And
news.
snacks.
Yes.
Well, at least you guys won out on that one. The legislative breakfast wasn't much of breakfast.
Oh, really?
It was coffee and donuts.
Oh, this was salmon and all kinds of.
You did, that's true.
Samantha, we went to the wrong one, we got box lunches.
Yeah. Baklava and.
Cookies dipped in chocolate.
Yeah, we went to the wrong train, okay.
It was just so
We
good.
see how you are.
Did they address in relation to the approval of the committee minutes by the committee? Isn't there a time limit by which those minutes have to be approved?
They
Because some of our
said-
committees only meet
They said either.
quarterly or.
That's the reason they suggested that at the very next board meeting that you take that 5 minutes before and.
To just have the committee members approve
approve those.
outside of,
Yeah,
okay,
And because
Yeah.
that was brought up
Gotcha. All
by
right.
the audience, that,
Yeah.
some minute,
And I want to make sure that the way we do that is correct, so that we're
Yeah, so
not
look into
starting
that.
the endless cycle of the committee had a meeting to approve minutes, and now we have minutes of the
Of the
meeting
minutes.
to approve
yeah,
minutes.
so
and-
you need to
and that-
check on that, because
Yeah,
it was a
so
little.
how that's supposed to function, that's what I want
You need
to
to figure that out.
dig into.
Because they said otherwise you have to then approve the next time you have your meeting, which could be 6
Right,
months.
3, 4 months
And
down.
I think it's like 30 days or something. isn't it?
Right, right, which is
The
why
other
we've
thing-
always
so
done it
we'll-
at the next
so we'll
regular
get-
meeting.
Then there's the other thing
I'll
that
figure out.
Phil,
Real
Phil,
record.
Because
Phil Lenzini said, because he's always, he's
The
got
guy
lots of.
He's an interesting guy.
He's an
Interesting
interesting
guy.
person, but he said that he really thinks that we should do it with all committees and everything should be committee of the whole and everybody needs to know what's going on. So that was his take on the committee, so.
Well, the other option would be to have it within this meeting, it's just the people that are not on that committee just don't vote.
Or something like that, yeah.
Or
So
something
it
to
would-
that effect.
Yeah, so it
I mean,
was,
if you're worried about having a separate meeting,
Yeah.
considering it to be a separate meeting.
And some of our other local libraries do actually do all of their businesses committee of the whole.
COWs, yeah. So, and we did that for a while when we were involved in referendum things, and we did that each time. as
Mhm.
COWs. Anyway,
The other
anything
thing
else?
I brought up to you was that on their agenda, they had old business, new business.
Mhm.
And I only wondered in terms of where new business or old business might be questioned within our agenda.
And
If
that
it's
was
not
at the
on the
very
agenda.
end of the agenda.
Yes.
That they put that in there. So that's something that we can consider
We can
also.
explore.
Yeah.
Yes, we used to do old and new business, and part of our problem was sometimes it was difficult to determine if something was truly old or new. If you had, touched on it briefly in a previous meeting, and yet it wasn't on the agenda, is it old business or is it new business?
And they really stressed if it wasn't on the agenda, you really can't talk about it.
And public comment.
Public comments and librarians report is
Yeah.
also a very lovely place to
Insert
get
that.
little tidbits in.
So, anything else, Vicki or Pat? A good thing to do.
Incentive for everyone to go next time.
Yeah. It's a good thing to do. Pardon me, you want to know what they're serving for lunch?
No, I'm just trying to remember when that was.
It is the day after Valentine's.
It's a
Yeah.
Saturday.
Yes, I was teaching music.
Just last second. That's the reason it's still right. Never mind. Okay. Pardon me. Library director's report, Shirley.
Okay. January was certainly an interesting month, and I will mention that I miscounted on our emergency closings. That was actually 5 emergency closings because I was forgetting about the Sunday that I was still on vacation, that the library was actually closed. I was busy driving through the snowstorm that had the library closed. But it has been by far, the most closings we have had in any single year in my tenure here, and it all happened in 1 month. So our January statistics will be a little different, yeah, a little bit different than usual, so bear that in mind. We did talk to the cleaning company. We are going to be parting ways with them. They are not happy with the contract. We are not happy with their service. Nobody's happy. We're gonna get new proposals and go a more specific scope of work this time, and possibly a minimum number of hours per night for cleaning. When we did bid this previously in the last spring, we did have 3 bids, and they were all in the same ballpark, so we really didn't feel that this was out of line in any way, but the provider does feel like it was more detail-oriented than was presented in the scope of work. So we'll be starting over. It will be
Like
the
really clean.
Yeah. So it will be the first order of business for our new head of maintenance, who begins on Monday. So Lance Agnew will be with us on Monday, and he cannot come soon enough. The newsletter, I will have Lisa talk about that a little bit when we get to that in the action items. I know that there have been some questions about how things were going with our new printing company, and we've done some updates to the mailing list, et cetera. Oh, and just don't forget, Lisa and I and Veronica DeFazio and Michelle Peterson are all going to the Public Library Association conference in March from the 11th to the 15th. So bear in mind, Michelle Rubel and the crowd will be holding down the fort.
That should be interesting.
It's going to be a fun one.
I hope they have nice
It's in
lunch.
Indianapolis, which is why we have so many people going, because we're carpooling, all 4 of us in a single vehicle. So we figured when they bring the national conference that close to us, we should take advantage of it.
And maybe the snow will be gone.
There will be no snow.
That I-65, I don't want to deal with
No
that.
snow.
Really? You gonna risk that?
That's only like 3
You
weeks.
gonna put that out there?
Yeah.
She's recording. You cut this, right?
Vicki
Okay.
has that, and we'll be making a comment.
Please don't, please don't jinx. So, Lisa, logo update.
So I'll show you some of the things that we have done, that will be done. These are all mock-ups, so they don't look perfect, but this is our new library card. This is what it's gonna look like. Little key tag. Pretty exciting. Everyone really loves our colors here. And then these are the tweaks that we are proposing to WebLinks, who's our web designer. So the graphic designer, Julie, just made a mock-up and has given them some direction of how we want it to look to match the rest of our theme and our brand. It's very minor, but it's mostly the colors, making sure that our colors are well together. So that.
Do you think Jimmy Dean's gonna step out and have breakfast under 300 with that sun?
You're not the only person who feels like that looks like the breakfast sausage.
Where did they go?
So this is early stages of our shirts. We're going to have shirts for the staff. The shirt will most likely be that pale blue. We'll have our logo on the left side, right side pocket.
Yeah.
It'll be it'll be like a polo shirt. It'll be collared with buttons. We're still very much in the early stages of that one. And these are our business cards.
Oh, okay.
So you guys have business cards. We need to the edge of yours too, so you can see.
Look.
There we go.
There you are. There's you, Sharon.
My question to all of you is, there's no contact information for you on these business cards.
That's okay.
I know what, if you want your contact information, please see me tonight, and I will add that. But otherwise, it was just going to have, your title.
Okay, I have a question.
The library form.
You want the main number on it?
Yeah, that would probably be a good idea.
Well, and can we set up a dummy email that could then automatically get forwarded to us through the library server?
I don't know if I actually know if we can do that.
What about like in the school district, I have a school
Yeah, we can
email,
auto
can
forward
we
to
have a?
one.
Right.
What we can likely do is auto forward to me to then
And then
pass
redistribute?
up and then
But
redistribute
that way
to
they
you.
could look
Because
personalized.
with the
Yeah.
Gmail, we can't do the free auto forward only account
Yeah.
to your personal
Okay.
email,
Yeah.
but we can do it to one in our
Right,
group.
right.
So you're talking like trustee at, with our is that
Yeah, I think we can do that.
just something that's
We-
generic, or
we
do you
used
want
to have
a
that.
specific?
Well,
Carl Gilmore, yeah.
Or could we have, following the library format?
Yeah.
Back
We have-
in the regional library system.
Yeah, we have to pay for every one of our email accounts,
Okay.
so that would
Yeah.
mean,
Just send it to Julie, trustee, or specify which trustee.
that's the only,
So,
yeah,
or we
that's
could
the-
do
yeah.
forward at.
If you really want, I think you do your own though.
Yeah, if you're comfortable,
You know.
I don't want my personal one.
Well, no,
No,
I would set
no,
another
I
dummy
would, yeah, I
one
would set up
through
a new one.
Gmail
Yeah.
or. As a matter of fact, you know what, I will probably do that. Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, if we all set up one on Gmail and do the standard
work?
format, first name, last name, trustee at gmail.com, or PPLD trustee at gmail.com.
It's really wrong.
That's a really
It
long,
is.
yeah.
It's a really.
do you want to look into that, Lisa, and let us know what would be the best way to handle that?
You could do trustee, first initial, last name,
Mhm.
that'd be shorter.
Yeah.
It's still gonna be long.
And
You spell out trustee. And legal stuff, trustee is like TTE.
otherwise it says.
It says on the card.
Yeah. Have you seen what our extension is?
Ours are
Yeah.
long, very long.
Ours are very long.
If they go to the website, they would.
Okay.
Let us know